What is up, and I welcome each and every one of you back to a brand new video. I hope you're all having fantastic days, and if not, I hope I can make your day just a little bit better. We are going to be looking at the top 5 units across all eras in this video. That is right. Last week we took a look at the 5 worst units, one for each era. This week we looked at the best units, one for each era, and today we are going to be doing top 5, pants down, no eras, just the barrier down. We're going to be looking through all eras and picking out the top 5 units. Now, obviously, like last time, we're not going to be counting in scout line or naval units. I didn't count in naval units because they are most of the times weaker, about 90% of the time weaker than their land counterparts, and also I didn't rank them in my last 2 videos, so I'm not going to be doing them in this video. And the scout line unit, let's be honest, he wouldn't have made it into the top 30, none of them would, but I just decided to remove them because, well, we didn't have them for the last video, and it's just more of a formality or anything. They weren't coming anywhere near the top 5. Heck, put me in the game, I would do better than the scout line units. But yeah, obviously we're looking at it in the context, right? For example, the mechanized infantry would absolutely demolish an archer one-on-one. That's no lie. But the archer in the ancient era is 100 times more effective than the mechanized infantry, who's more expensive, requires oil, low movement speed, lots of maintenance, and really is a bad unit, so it would technically be worse than the archer in the context of this tier list. But let's get started with number 5. The number 5 best unit in the entire game is the Bombard. Now, why is the Bombard number 5? It's simple. Renaissance era is when the AI starts getting Renaissance walls. I know, shocker, who could have expected that coming? But unlike the medieval and classical eras, siege towers and battering rams would allow you to use melee units and pike units to take out city walls. There's nothing for that in Renaissance walls. Renaissance walls are not affected by siege towers or battering rams, and musketmen don't have any sort of support unit that can help them take out the walls. The only unit in Civ 6 who can take out Renaissance era walls in the Renaissance era is the Bombard. The frigate can do it, but we're not counting naval units. The Bombard is a necessity for Renaissance era warfare, no doubt, no question, and that necessity has given him the number 5 spot on our list. Number 4, we have the Swordsman in the classical era. The Swordsman is an all-purpose effective unit. The good thing about the Swordsman that separates it from the Horseman is twofold. Number 1, it can make use of oligarchy, giving it a more effective combat strength than the Horseman. Number 2, it can make use of the battering ram, which is the only ancient era unit that can do that aside from the Spearman, but the Spearman is just something you stuck your finger up in your butthole, swirled it around, pulled it out. That's pretty much what the Spearman is like. So the Swordsman is really the only effective melee unit that can make use of battering rams, and considering the fact that catapults are so expensive and damn near, like, they're more expensive than the Swordsman and the Horseman. They're damn near useless in the ancient and classical eras. Getting a battering ram, getting a Swordsman or 2 will allow you to absolutely decimate walls and bring down the walls of the walls of your enemies. And the Horseman, as effective as he is, and he's still a very strong unit if rushed, he just can't use battering rams. Therefore, when you build ancient walls, Horsemen are pretty much useless, which gives the edge to the Swordsman, making him number 4 in our rankings. We're looking at number 3 now. This might shock you. Everybody hold on to your socks. We have a double header. We have the observation balloon and we have the drone. They each are support units providing 1 extra range to siege engines. Now, why is that effective? It's effective because now your siege engines can attack from 3 range, both your artillery and your bombard and even your rocket artillery. And while the drone gives it an extra 5 combat strength, that really is just like, it's just pennies at that point. The range means that enemy city walls and garrison units can no longer retaliate against you. That is so big. That is so massive. Your siege units are going to be free to do whatever they want as long as you have a few infantry or cavalry units in order to defend them. Hey guys, real quick before we get right back into the video, I got 7K subscribers now. I cannot thank you guys enough. All 7,027 of you at this moment. But for those of you who haven't already, I am going to definitely start streaming at 10K. Might do a face reveal even at 10K. That's going to be pretty interesting. But yeah, if you guys enjoy the content, definitely helps me out a ton. So like, comment, subscribe, and let's get right back into the video. Drone and the observation balloon turns the artillery and bombard from, good units, really good units that have counters, to absolutely unstoppable forces of nature. That is why observation balloons and drones are going to take the number 3 spot Number 2, we have the bomber. Now, the bomber and the jet bomber, they're kind of the same, and you could put both of them at number 2. The bomber is a little bit better. They both require aluminum. The thing is, though, the bomber comes earlier on when you people are just researching anti-air guns, and from what I've seen from the AI will not build anti-air guns until the early information era. That's what I've seen. Ditto goes for planes, and even though planes require aluminum, so most of the time you're not going to be seeing a lot of fighters in the air. The reason bombers are ahead of stealth bombers is, again, because they have less counters to deal with, and without anti-air guns, there is literally no counter for them. No counter. They are as effective as siege units against enemy cities. They are as effective as even more effective than machine guns against enemy units. If you don't have anti-air, which the AI 90% of the time doesn't, you will absolutely decimate the enemy. It is not even a question of when. If it is a question of when, you could have 3 air units and 1 melee unit, and you could destroy an enemy that's fielding like 30 heavy cavalry units. I'm not even joking when it comes to that. The bomber is the second best unit in the entire game because of the decimation it can deal to enemy cities, and you could just spend your entire time beelining into the information era, not conquering a single city. And if you are like an era ahead, for example, or even half an era ahead, if we're being quite honest, even if you're in the same era, you could take some bombers, 4 or 5, and absolutely win a domination victory within 50 turns. They are that strong, and that's why they take number 2 on our spot. Number 1 best unit, there is no question about it. It isn't even close. It is the archer, and oh my god, for those of you who don't think it's the archer, you are wrong. The archer is the best defensive unit in the entire game, pound for pound, because it comes in the ancient era, which on the higher difficulties like immortal or deity, the enemy AI is going to have a massive advantage. They're going to have way more units, way more cities, way more districts and buildings. Therefore, they will have a nice classical era technological advantage 90% of the time, and they can rush you with even warriors. They start with like 5 warriors in the ancient era. If the AI declares war on you within 5 turns of the game starting, no one, I don't care. You could take me, Potato McWhiskey, Saxy Gamer, just put them all together. We're not even stopping that rush. Not even close. You could take in the best competitive Civ 6 gamers. I don't watch the competitive scene, but you could take all of them. And against Deity, if they get declared war on in the first 5 turns, it's game over. GG, well played. Hey, reroll time. But the Archer, if you can get it early enough, so strong. You build 2 or 3 of them and you are set for defense. They're able to attack from range behind hills and inside of cities. And if you do it a few times against warriors, I think it's 2 or 3 shots to kill. Swordsman, maybe 4 shots. Archers, it's just a 2-shot, and slingers, it is 1 or 2 shots. So with the archer, you can decimate enemy forces up to 4 times greater than your own, and their offensive capabilities are still good, because you're going to be able to kill enemy units without taking any damage. You're going to be able to take out enemy cities without taking any damage. The one time the archers aren't effective is against ancient era walls, and they're still solid against ancient walls when, like, they just come up, right? If there's no garrison unit, and it's just like an ancient era wall with, like, 20-25 combat strength, 4 or 5 archers can still melt that city. Go check my Arabia video where I took out the Ottoman city. They're still pretty damn good, and considering the fact that they come at a critical time early on in the ancient era and they serve every purpose imaginable, including the vital defensive purpose, we have the archer as the best unit in Civ 6. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Quick recap. Number 5 was the Bombard because it is the only Renaissance era unit that can take out enemy cities. Number 4 is the Swordsman because it can make use of battering rams and oligarchy and can decimate enemy walls. Number 3 is the observation balloon and drone because they can make your siege units absolutely unstoppable S-tier monsters. Number 2 is the bomber because nobody stops the boomer. Nobody stops the boomer until you get anti-air, which does not happen a lot of the time. And if it does, you can even still counter it by your own land forces or even your own fighters and jet fighters. And number 1 is the archer because it comes at a critical time in the ancient era, best defensive unit, a strong offensive unit, and just serves every purpose you can imagine. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.